So I uploaded a video a little while ago outlining my strategies for shopping in bulk and less often, and you all seemed interested in my strategies, so I decided I'd take you along on my grocery shopping trip today. I shopped for about 2 weeks, but because it's the beginning of the month, I was shopping also for kind of the entire month. You'll see what I mean later. And before I show you the haul, everything that I bought, this is only some of it. This is like a very small fraction of everything that I bought, by the way. Before I show you everything, I just want to acknowledge that I am very lucky that I am able to do this. I know a lot of people out there are struggling right now. A lot of people have lost their jobs. I'm lucky that I still have my job. I still have money. I have a car that I can use to go and buy a bunch of groceries at once, and I know that not everyone has that luxury. And if you're not in a place right now for whatever reason, you can't go to the grocery store and you have to live off of whatever's in your pantry, I've got a few videos in a playlist, which I'll also link below, that outline just recipes that you can make if you only have the food that's in your pantry. So first I want to show the state of like what food I had in this apartment before I went on the shopping trip. So let's show you guys what I have in the fridge before the shopping trip. As you can see, it's pretty bare. It's mostly just a bunch of condiments, and there's like a little bit of hard cheese in here. There's half a thing of pepperoni, a thing of mascarpone cheese that's sealed. It'll be good for a few months yet. Half a lime, a few sticks of butter, a little bit of cranberry juice, and a little bit of almond milk. This was sort of from my emergency provisions, and I opened it because I ran out of all milks, all canned milk, all fresh milk, all cream. I have dried milk, but that's not good in tea, and I really needed something creamy for my tea, so I opened this out of desperation. It was not very good. I should have used coconut milk. Anyway, lesson learned. Some rendered jars of animal fat, some miso. I always have carrots and onions, and I still have a pretty decent supply, so I'm not gonna have to restock. I pretty much always have some celery. This is pretty old and tired, but I'm only gonna need a little bit for the next 2 weeks, so I'm not gonna bother getting any more. And then this is like half a plate of leftover spaghetti with meatballs that Joshua will hopefully eat tonight. And this is like a third of a loaf of homemade cinnamon swirl bread that I've been eating for breakfast. And then we've got like 2 eggs and more condiments, 2 raspberry swirl homemade brownies. If you have me on Facebook, you already saw the pictures. These are delicious. And the freezer, like, it's getting pretty empty. It was completely packed and almost spilling out a month ago, and now it's like nice. Anyway, we've got like, 2 pot pies, some pot stickers, and then a lot of this is just like broths, leftover sauce from when I cook meat and stuff like that I'm going to use in chilies and other dishes. I'm going to use this buttermilk in the hot chicken sandwiches, and I'm going to use this block of cheese probably in chili from broth in the future. And then I've got like 10 ounces of old pork shoulder. I'll use that in something else eventually. Frozen berries. And I have still, this right here is 2 servings of curried lentils from that week that I did of cheap food back in January. I still have 2 meals from that. Oh wait, it was a month, duh. But anyway, I still have 2 meals from that, and I'll probably eat that sometime in May. I thought I was gonna eat it in April, but I didn't because I didn't feel like it. My pantries are still pretty fully stocked. I mean, if we had to, like, there's ramen, there's oatmeal, there's peanut butter, like if we had to, we could totally eat what we still have. I still have like 4 giant bags of rice. I still have a bunch of flours and various other things. And these are emergency provisions, but I've got some cereal and I've got some plant-based milks there that are shelf stable. And I still have like a bunch of tea. I'm running out of a particular kind of tea that I like to have for breakfast. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much still have like enough food for us to eat for a while. It's just we're running out of fresh food and out of like very specifics, like milk for me in my tea. I need dairy, real dairy in my tea. Otherwise I'm upset. And my husband doesn't have any Coke. He drank the last of it last night while I was asleep. And that's also an emergency. So that is pretty much prompting this grocery trip. You don't have to wait until you're completely out of food to buy more, is I guess the gist of this. So yeah, what will generally prompt a grocery shopping trip in our household is running out of either dairy or a soda. One of those 2 things. I mean, it also is a bit of a drag when you don't have like fresh produce and everything that you make is just like carbs and fat. Like, that tastes good, it's good comfort food, but after a while it you need more substance, you need more nutrition. So that will also prompt a grocery shopping trip. I was craving vegetables because the last couple weeks, the last time I went grocery shopping was a month ago. It was like 4.5 weeks ago. And I got enough stuff basically to last us pretty much an entire month. But what that meant was like the latter half of the month was a lot of not so fresh cooking. It was more stews and soups and curries and chilies. And like I made meatball subs from scratch with frozen meat and various other things like that. And if you follow me on Facebook, you probably saw the pictures popping up here and there of the various things that I was making. But yeah, the latter half of the month, there wasn't very much fresh flavor going on in there. I really have been craving vegetables as a result and fresh fruit, so I made sure to get a lot of that. So with that in mind, let's look now at my meal plan for the 2 weeks and how I made the shopping list. So I'm just looking at my list that I have on my computer screen, and I'm just going to write it on a piece of scratch paper. I prefer that over like a phone or something. I don't know, it's just easier to access, and I can like scribble things off as I go along and make sure that I buy everything that I need.
Okay, what I have done here is I have written out basically all of the dishes that I would like to make for week 1 and for week 2. And I've made a lot of these dishes before, or things like these dishes before, so I generally know how many servings the dish is. And if it's a new recipe, like it'll say on the recipe, serves 4 or whatever, so I know how many servings of each dish there is. So what I've basically done here is Joshua, my husband, he is sickly and he is not always consistently able to eat like regularly. So the most I can predict that he'll eat is like 1 meal a day. That's basically what he'll do. He'll eat like 1 big meal a day with me, and then like he'll just kind of snack on like crackers and chips and cookies or like other things throughout the rest of the day. So I basically only plan on feeding him 7 meals a week. And then as for myself, I am dieting. I've mentioned that on a few other videos. I'm only eating 1,600 calories a day at the moment. So that really translates to 2 meals a day for me, plus like a little teeny tiny snack maybe. So I basically planned here 7 meals a week for Joshua and 14 meals a week for me. So that means 21 meals total per each week. So that's what I've done. I've outlined week 1. There is that 1 meal of leftover spaghetti with meatballs from the previous week. I'm going to make 4 fennel burgers from the Bob's Burgers burger cookbook. And I'm going to make 2 steak dinners. I'm going to make 2 fish dinners. I'm going to make 3 salads. All of those are going to be for me. It's not the kind of thing that like, it's a very fresh thing that's not very good leftover. So I don't usually like to plan on making my husband fresh food like that, because if he's asleep all day and sick all day and can't eat his portion, then the leftovers go to waste. So all the salads are for me. I'm going to make 4 hot chicken sandwiches. Excited about that because I've never made or eaten hot chicken before. So we each get 2 of those. And I'm going to make 4 meals total of Buddha's Delight, which is like a vegan stir-fried veggie dish. I'm going to make 2 of them in week 1, 2 of them in week 2, as you can see here. So I've just totaled up. Joshua has his 7 out of 7 meals covered, and I only have 11 out of 14 of my meals covered. And I did this on purpose because, as I mentioned, Joshua is kind of sickly. He can't consistently eat all the food that I think he can eat. And also, additionally, sometimes, you know, I miscalculate, or maybe a recipe calls for half a head of cabbage and I have to buy a whole head of cabbage. And then what am I going to do with the extra cabbage? I don't want it to go to waste. So I basically leave some slots blank for myself. And I've done the same thing for week 2. I'm going to make the other 2 servings of Buddha's Delight. I have yogurt with fresh fruit and or smoothies, snacks for both of us, NA in week 2, but that should actually be in week 1. I later moved that to week 1 after taking the screen cap because fresh fruit does not last longer than the first few days after you buy it. Anyway, we're going to have tacos on Cinco de Mayo because it's on a Taco Tuesday and we're white. So we're going to have tacos. That's just 2 meals total, 1 for both of us. And then I'm going to do 4 meals total, 2 for each of us, of sausages with sauteed mushrooms and onions and peppers and homemade pretzels. And then I'm going to make palak paneer. I have a recipe for that up on this channel, so check that out. It's a really nice vegetarian Indian dish. And I'm going to use frozen spinach, as it says in parentheses with an exclamation point, with frozen spinach, because I just had an epiphany. Hey, I should make this with frozen spinach because it's a lot cheaper and like it'll be easier, honestly, than using fresh. So, and that way also I don't have to worry about the spinach going bad. Like I can just make it with frozen spinach. And then I have in here sort of vaguely planned meals from scratch. I imagine I'm going to have leftover cabbage. I'm probably going to have leftover sweet peppers. I might even have tofu left over, who knows? So I basically said, well, I'm probably going to make some meals from scratch. So you'll see in our totals, Joshua has his 7 out of 7 meals, and I have about 12-ish out of 14 meals total. Again, some of that's the meals from scraps. I don't really know how much I'm going to have from that. And then if you look in the little bit that's under that, backups, if not enough food, I don't think we're not going to have enough food. I think we're going to have enough or maybe too much food even. But just in case, like I need a little bit of a snack here and there to round things out, I'm getting some ice cream. Yogurt with fruit is on that list as well. Spaghetti with tomato sauce. It's a go-to pantry meal that I make a lot, that I fall back on a lot. Homemade bread, cookies, frozen pot pies, and frozen gyoza. I put frozen spring rolls on there because I was gonna get those at the grocery store, but they didn't have any, the Asian Mart, so I didn't get them. And then spicy rice with peas, another standby. Can make it all with pantry staples. So those are just kind of like backups if there's not enough food. And that's it.
And now on to the actual shopping. I know people have commented like, oh, I want to see you actually shopping in the stores and buying the stuff. And like, I don't really know how likely it is I'm going to be doing that in future videos. Well, there's many reasons. One, it's just awkward filming in public, guys. Everyone stares at you and I hate getting attention. Like, I don't mind uploading videos to YouTube and having thousands of people watch me on the internet, but I hate like in real time in public people paying attention to me. So that's one thing. Another thing is like, some stores like they don't allow it. Like if you're obviously filming something, they'll come up to you and be like, hey, stop that. And then also with this pandemic going on, like everyone's kind of more on edge, and I just didn't want to like take extra time also shopping and like filming things and filming myself shopping. It's just kind of awkward right now. So I didn't film myself actually shopping in the stores. I took a couple candid like shots, and which I'll splice into here probably over my talking right now. But just understand that I'm not gonna actually show you the footage of me shopping in the stores, but I went to 3 places. I went to first the local butcher. My husband discovered it a while ago, and I'm so happy he did because it's amazing. It's more expensive than a grocery store for sure, but it's great to support a local business for one thing. And then if you're gonna be a meat eater, it's good to be a more ethical meat eater in that you eat animals that were treated really well when they were alive, and then when they were killed humanely. And I know this butcher, like they source their meat that way, so it's more expensive, but the meat tastes so much better and like I feel better about eating it. Second place I went is H Mart, which it's a chain, Korean grocery store, but they have other Asian foods there. Check out, just find whatever your local Asian Mart is and start shopping there. You're gonna find amazing deals. The produce tends to be a lot cheaper in those stores. Everything, well, not everything, like a lot of like Western food tends to be more expensive there. But if you're like me and you're like into a lot of Asian cooking, like Indian cooking even, and other things, like those stores are a godsend. So discover your local Asian Mart in your area and go there. And the third place I went is Fred Meyer, otherwise known as Freddy's. If you're not familiar with Pacific Northwest, you don't know Fred Meyer, but it's basically Target on steroids. That's my best way of describing it. It is a full-fledged grocery store, and I'm going there last because for 2 reasons. One, I'm getting ice cream there, and I don't want my ice cream to melt while I'm like buying all the other things. Second reason I'm going there is that they have everything, pretty much. Like I know everything that I want for the dishes that I'm making. I could get at Fred Meyer. I just think better versions of those ingredients and or better prices for those ingredients could be found at the butcher or at H Mart. So that's why I'm going there first, and then Freddy's last of all. Oh, time to suit up. So behold my pile of loot from 3 different stores, and Kaylee loves plastic bags, so she's probably going to be rustling around in them and while I'm talking. Anyway, I really want to get some of this stuff put away as soon as possible because it's perishable and it's been in my car, and then it took me a while to put all this on the table. So I'm going to kind of whiz through some of these items, and I'm going to try to start with the frozen foods first. So for morale boosting, my husband and I love Ben & Jerry's, so we got a few different flavors, 4 of these just to try them all out. And we really love this. It's so expensive, but we love it. It's a special treat, the Magnum These are the bars. We prefer the ice cream with the chocolate, raspberry specifically, and they only had it in bar form, which is more expensive, but I got it anyway. 2 half gallons of 2% milk. That way they will last longer. We get fish about once a month as a special treat. The tilapia was cheaper and it looked really nice, so tilapia. And 2 pints of cream. And I went to my local butcher and got a bunch of different meats, and this feta, only 99 cents. It's so much more expensive at the grocery store. I'm gonna put that in my salads. And these are just a bunch of meats. I'll probably talk about them more when I'm not nervous about leaving them out forever and I'm going bad. Also some house-made beef jerky from the butcher, and it has to be refrigerated because it's not completely dried. And eggs from the butcher. These are local, and a bunch of different sausages also from the butcher. Okay, I think I got most of my very perishable stuff away in the fridge and freezer. Actually, lied. I still have a couple frozen things. Frozen peas. Beggars can't be choosers. I usually get generic brand and bulk, but this was all they had. And some frozen spinach. Okay, some more dairy. I've got plain whole milk yogurt to go with berries. They're not local, but local berries are not going to be right for a month or so. Butter. I finally had to get butter. The last time I got butter was like November, back when it's really cheap for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I got like a bunch of it. And I'm finally getting low, so I got more. Some Asiago cheese. I always like to have some kind of hard cheese on hand, and we were almost out of it. And giant block of mozzarella for our pizza needs. And just so you don't think I'm the hugest carnivore ever, and because I really do love it, tofu. Let's look at a bunch of green things. I got some jalapenos and some tomatillos to make a salsa verde, and also limes for the salsa verde and other things. Some dill and a green apple. That's going to be for the burgers. And some beautiful lettuce for the hot chicken sandwiches. Snow peas, cucumber, some avocados for my salad, and scallions, the fennel in question for the fennel burgers, among other things. A big ol' Napa cabbage. This is going to be used in many different dishes. And here's my cilantro for the salsa verde, among other things. A mango. These aren't really great for, like, this variety mango isn't that super great for eating, but it's good like as an ingredient in things, and that's what I'm going to use it for. These coconuts, however, are just amazing little snacks. I love fresh young coconut. And bananas, because it's been a while since we had fresh fruit. Jicama is one of my favorite veggies. Nice and crisp and fresh. I got some sunchokes to go with our steaks. The last time I tried these, they were delicious, but they gave me digestive issues. But I figure if I just don't eat as many this time, I should be okay. A lot of you have probably only seen these in a can, but these are fresh water chestnuts. They're really a treat. They're so much better than canned. I pretty much never eat them canned anymore. And I'm gonna use these in veggie stir fry. This is just a bountiful harvest of a variety of mushrooms. We love mushrooms. Can't get enough of them. So we got king oyster, shimeji, and creminis. Bag of shallots. They were on sale, so I got them, and they're good in salads. Garlic, I ran completely out of it, which is a crime, so I got more garlic. And ginger, which I also ran completely out of, which is a crime, so I got more ginger. And lemons. Another thing that I always like to have on hand is some lemons. I like using them as a hair rinse as well as eating them. I know they're out of season and super expensive, but I don't care. I love cherry tomatoes in my salad. And this beauty, some of you guys might not know what it is, but it's a celery root. It makes a wonderful mash. We'll have that with our steak. Big old bag of sweet peppers. My husband hates bell peppers, but he thankfully likes these, and they're pretty much the same thing. They just don't have that weird, like, bitter twang that bell peppers have. Some Yukon Gold potatoes. And now we're on to our dry goods section. Notice how it's decidedly smaller than everything else, and that's because I already had a lot of dried goods. I'm just restocking on some of the things that I was almost out of or out of. One of the things I was out of was dried pasta. While I make a lot of my own pasta from scratch, I still like to have the dried stuff on hand because it saves so much time, and it's actually better for a lot of different kinds of applications. So I got some dried pasta. Panko breadcrumbs, the only breadcrumb for deep frying as far as I'm concerned. I was getting close to out of that. I don't think I'm gonna run out of it and need more, but I like being ahead of the curve. My husband and I really like this spicy ramen. Potato buns, these will be for our burgers and our hot chicken sandwiches. And a variety of 2-liter Cokes, cherry and plain, for my husband's Coke habit. And a couple cans of generic brand olives for our pizza, and just a snack on because we love olives. And then it was like 10 for 10 canned milk. I always have a big stash of this, and I was completely out of it. I usually don't like to get completely out of it, but I was. So I got 10. I'm not gonna use all of these in just 2 weeks. I might not even use all of them in 2 months. I'm stocking up. And I was getting low on vegetable oil for deep frying, etc. So I got more of that. And I got my husband as a little treat. I got him a little sarsaparilla. Sometimes I'll get him a little artisanal soda whenever I go out, or candy, but we already have a lot of candy. Oh, we're almost done. Cayenne pepper. I prefer to buy it, you know, from the bulk section of Winco, but I didn't go to Winco. This is one of your next best options. It's going to be a lot cheaper to get it here from the Mexican section rather than in the bottles. Chocolate chips, we were getting a little low. We only had half a bag left, so I got more. And I got coconut. My husband was expressing interest in macaroons, so now I have the option of making them if I want to, but I'm not necessarily going to use this. And tea for my tea habit. And now look how full the fridge is. I haven't organized everything just yet by like what I'm eating first, bring to the front of the fridge, etc. I just got it all in here so that it would not get too warm. It's been in my car way too, and today's a lot hotter than I thought it was gonna be, so I just wanted to get it in the fridge as quickly as I could. So in conclusion, I've been sitting here with the receipts next to me this whole time and my shopping list next to me this whole time. I'm just gonna go over how much I actually spent. So the total amount that I spent on food, I'm not including like cleaning supplies and toilet paper and stuff, because that's not part of my food budget. I'm working with a monthly budget of $400 a month for just 2 people, me and my husband. And so logically, for a 2-week shopping trip, or for a shopping trip that's supposed to be for half a month, I should spend about $200, and I did not. And I will explain why I did not. So I spent $280, actually $282 exactly, on this shopping trip for all of these items. And again, I'm not counting the non-food items like toilet paper and toilet bowl cleaner and stuff. Now, the reason why I spent more, you know, some of you might be like, oh my God, you went over budget. You're such a bad person. It's like, no, a lot of the stuff that I bought, I'm not gonna eat. We're not gonna eat during these 2 weeks. Like this panko, for example, I was basically just restocking so that I wouldn't risk running out of it. I'm gonna use panko to bread the fish that I'm gonna make, but I'm probably not gonna have to dip into this bag at all. It's just while I'm at H Mart, I might as well restock. These canned milks, I'm not gonna use all of these canned milks in 2 weeks. I was buying a lot of this in advance. The soda. I hope my husband is not going to drink like all 9 2-liter bottles of Coke. I wouldn't put it past him. He has a horrible Coke habit, but you know, I don't think he's gonna go through all of that in just 2 weeks. We're not gonna go through this entire like gallon of vegetable oil in 2 weeks either. So a lot of these were basically restocking pantry staples. The pasta, I might not even eat any of the pasta at all. Like neither of us might not eat any of it this 2 weeks, but we can eat it in week 3 or week 4. So that's part of the reason why I went over budget. The other reason that I went over budget is I actually still had $35 left over from the previous month's budget that I just rolled over. So that's kind of how I do my budgeting. I don't have to, I mean, and technically it's not even May yet, it's like 2 days before May, but since most of the food that I bought I'm going to be eating in May, I'm just counting that as my May budget. So I still had like $35 left over in my April budget, and I'm just carrying it over to May. So May, effectively, I'm allowed to spend $435, not $400. So it works out a lot better than it sounds. And yeah, I have a lot of extra food. And you know, even before I went on the shopping trip, I still had other food in the house that we could be eating. So to the untrained eye, it may seem like I was over budget, but I really wasn't. So I'll be showing you guys some of the things that I cook during the next 2 weeks. I don't know that I'm necessarily gonna do like recipe videos where I detail out everything that I do. Some of the things are very easy, like cut fruit in a bowl of yogurt and like a salad and stuff like that. I might make full-fledged videos out of some of them. And if you add me on Facebook, you'll probably see a lot of the pictures of the things that I'm cooking. But this was more just to show you guys kind of how I meal plan and how I write the lists and how I shop and how I budget, since you seem to be interested in it. Anyway, hope you all are staying safe. And hey, the country is slowly opening up again. The world is slowly opening up again. So still stay safe there. Don't just like, I'm gonna run around in public now that we're suddenly not quarantined anymore. Still be safe and practical. I have no other way to end this video, so I'm going to awkwardly get up and turn the camera off.